Okay, hi everyone. Good to see familiar faces and names. It's been quite a while, but it's good to see you in this with our technology. Today we're doing Okonomiyaki by popular vote. Um, I don't know if how many of you have had Okonomiyaki. Has everyone had it? Raise your hands. Okay, because it's actually really popular in Japan, but you don't see it that often in here in the U.S. that often on the menus. So okonomiyaki is a savory Japanese pancake, and it was developed before pre-World War II. It was the recipe was developed, but in the World War II years, it became really popular because of course, they had food shortages and rice shortage. So this was a dish that they could make with flour. So, but it really became popular after World War II, especially it's all over eaten as a street snack or in restaurants. There are two types of okonomiyaki. The first one's called Hiroshima Style, and that's more complicated. It's done in layers, and the hallmark of that is that it also has noodles. So if you see okonomiyaki with noodles, that's the Hiroshima Style. Today we'll be doing what's called the Kansai or Osaka style, which is super simple. It's basically a pancake, a flour-based pancake with cabbage, and then we're going to have pork on top or bacon on top. So let me see. Let me get started. Oh yeah, and this is just the basic. I'm doing the really basic form of it. You can add seafood. You can add other vegetables like corn, whatever you want. This is just the basics. So before we get started, I want you to turn your heat on if you're cooking with us, start heating up your griddle or pan because that takes a few minutes. Okay, and let me talk quickly about just the special ingredients for this dish. Well, we have regular AP, all-purpose flour, or you can use the okonomiyaki flour. It's basically the same, use the same ratio. I just looked it up and it's just the same as flour. So it just has a few additives. This is okonomiyaki sauce. It's okonomiyaki sauce, which is kind of tastes like tonkatsu sauce, but it's sweeter, but that's key. And also, as a lot of people know, the QP mayo is important because it actually has less oil, it's sweeter, it has malt vinegar as well as apple cider vinegar, and it's also creamier. But the final product is really important. Usually I'm not a big person on garnishes and stuff, but with okonomiyaki, having all the sauce, the QP mayo, it's really pretty, you'll see too, as well as the katsuobushi. Katsuobushi is shaved bonita flakes, and this is actually really key in Japanese cuisine to make dashi. So we do have, just to make it simple, I used for this recipe hondashi. Hondashi is just a dashi powder. Yes, it does have MSG, but it's made out of the bonita, and it has kombu also. What else? I didn't put it in the list because I found this recipe afterwards, but we have baking powder. Baking powder is nice because it creates carbon dioxide bubbles. So basically it makes our pancake lighter. So if you don't have to use this, but if you have it, it's nice because it will make a nicer final product. The other thing we have, I listed this as a garnish, but I actually like to put this in the pancake. This is kizami ginger, and it's or it's actually beri shogu is what we call it, and it's not like the gari, the sushi ginger. It's different, but it's nice. It has a nice little zing of ginger, plus it has a nice color to it. So we also have what's called aonori, which is just grated nori flakes, which is nice for presentation as well as flavor. If you don't have this, you can get sushi nori and tear it up with your hands, or you can even just cut it into little strips. But that works nicely. You can use pork or pork belly. I have some bacon here. Bacon, as people say, bacon makes everything better, right? So we have that. We have those are more You know, eggs, green onions, cabbage. Okay, so let's get started. Our heater's on there. I'm gonna prep the cabbage to show you how to cut this. Just gonna cut it down the middle. And you see with cabbage, you got you don't want that really thick core. See that core there? So I just chop that up. Chop it in quarters and chop this out. I'm just gonna chop these into strips. So we're going for about 10 cups is what we want. And I'm just gonna chop crosswise too. You wanna get these fairly small, but not too small. If you get it too small, then it'll just steam, but that's about right. Just a quick chop. You get down to sometimes when you get down to here, you'll get these huge chunks. Not that bad, or like you get a huge chunk. I'll get rid of that because you don't want that. So this recipe is for 4 people. I'm just going to be making 1 pancake here to show you, but this is what's fun about okonomiyaki is it's fun to eat. I love interactive foods like shabu shabu or this, where you can do it at the table and have fun with your food together. And yeah, it's fun, different. So our cabbage is chopped up. Is everyone following me here? We have no one losing fingers or anything? Okay. Okay, so let's get the batter going. We have our 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to make the dashi right now. I have a cup of water, and it's a very easy ratio of 1 teaspoon of dashi for 1 cup of water. And I know we have a couple of vegans. You can use. I would use instead of dashi. I would use. I use a shiitake and kombu, a granule. Same thing. It comes in a granule form, but to give you that umami that you're lacking. So I've got 1 teaspoon salt, 2 teaspoons of sugar. I'm gonna throw in. These are like 3 stalks of green onion, diced, and I need my 1 teaspoon, of baking powder. Then I'm going to add some of this kizami or the plain shoga. A couple tablespoons. Just toss it in there. And I think that's everything. Yep. Oh, eggs. Let's actually mix it first before adding the eggs, and add the eggs at the end. 4 eggs. Okay, so we're mixing away here, but don't mix too much, because what I started to say is that gluten is the protein in flour. When you moisten it, whenever you knead dough, it's going to make it develop the gluten. Gluten is the stickiness in flour. So something like a pancake, you don't want to mix it. If I over mix it, then it'll become doughy and chewy. So you just want to get enough to moisten it pretty quickly. So, and don't stress about this. This is a really basic recipe, and you can't really mess it up, even if you omit ingredients. It's just so basic. Any other questions? Let me know.
All right. Do people want to give us a thumbs up if you're ready to go? All right. They would like to see your back.
Nina's struggling.
So Sarah asked it, so pretty much it's everything mixed together.
Yes, you just mix it together.
Um,
And don't overmix.
and then could we have a close up of the flour?
The mix. Oh, this.
But there is one question from Denise. Is chopped cabbage better than shredded cabbage?
Chopped is better, but you could use the prepackaged one. Shredded, yeah. I hope you guys aren't stressing out here. I don't mean to cause stress.
Michelle asked is what happens if you overmix?
Then what I was saying is that you develop the gluten, and then instead of a nice light pancake, you'll get a doughy, chewy one.
Okay. Might be doughy and chewy.
Just like, for instance, quick breads, like banana bread, that kind of thing. They always say, just moisten the dough. Just mix it enough to moisten. But if you keep mixing, then you're going to develop gluten and it'll get chewy. So whenever you see, like I said, quick breads, you'll say, just mix to combine the ingredients. That's it. Same thing. Just enough to mix. You guys have your pan on the heat, right?
Do we put oil in?
Yes. Or heat it up first and then put oil, yes.
Okay.
Like 375, something like medium high probably.
So the batter looks just like a whole bunch of cabbage, yeah?
Yeah, this is a cabbage. Cabbage is the biggest part of this dish, yeah.
Phew, because mine just looks like wet cabbage.
That's fine, yeah.
I think mine does too.
Yeah, it's just a big lump cabbage, wet cabbage and flour. Well, since I'm waiting here, just want to talk a little bit about something. When I was in culinary school, I was just talking about dashi, right? In culinary school, they said there are 5 main ingredients to Japanese cuisine. I'm like, no,
Uh-oh.
right? So they said shoyu, soy sauce, mirin, sake, dashi, and miso, right? And I was like, Japanese food's more complex than that. But it's true. When you're cooking when I cook a lot of Japanese food, it's like those same ingredients. It's interesting, right? Because you get Korean, Chinese food, lots of garlic, lots of chili. Japanese, they stay away from that. But it's a different cuisine. It's more subtle flavors, right? So it's just interesting because I didn't believe that. 5 ingredients. No, Japanese, we have all these things. It's like, oh, those 5 ingredients are pretty much, used a lot. If you ever get the chance, my fondest memories, I have fond memories of when I was in high school. We went to Japan to visit my sister who was living there. And we went to a place that does the Okonomiyaki at the table. And you get to cook it, each one your own, and cut it up and eat it right there. So it was just really fun. Just fun interacting with your food. Okay? So now we just, no one's behind? Okay, everyone's caught up? So now you just glop this down. You want about a 6-inch pancake, about 1 inch thick. You don't want to make it too thin. You want it pretty thick, actually.
Is the oil on the pan?
Yeah, I oiled it first. Definitely want to oil the pan. So we want to cook it for about 3 minutes initially. Yeah, I like that. You can see the nice red color from the shoga like that. Everyone doing okay there? Mine's starting to make some noise. Maybe turn the heat up a little bit. Oh, it's on high. All right, I'm going to add my bacon slices on top. And ready to flip in a few. So you definitely want to be patient enough. You don't want to flip this before we have structural integrity. You don't want it to fall apart. So I'm waiting. I'm testing my patience myself here. What I do sometimes like this is kind of, I have oil on the outside of the, on the pan here. And a lot of times I'll just kind of move stuff around and then you'll get the oil to go underneath because you don't want dry spots, right? So see, I'm just kind of going like this. You want it to get kind of a nice toasty color. I'm looking at it and it's still pretty pale. So I'm waiting a few.
Ellen, I'm guessing a nonstick pan is really, really helpful, huh? It's quite hard to do with a nonstick, or?
Yeah, nonstick definitely is good. Or cast iron, whatever. Okay, this is a little tricky. These are so big that I wish I had a fish spatula, the big wide ones, but I don't, so I'm just gonna do it like this. Let me wait another minute. Yeah, I don't want to have, okay. I'm gonna cover that too, make it help it cook faster.
The key is to be decisive, huh? You just
Let our bacon crisp up, nice. So this side we're cooking like another 3 or 4 minutes. The bacon I got extra thick, so I'm probably gonna leave it for a little longer. You basically want to get your bacon crispy and then have it cooked all the way through.
So Ellen, if you wanted to make this, you could add whatever kind of vegetables.
Yeah. Corn, peas, carrots, whatever you want.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was asking about the color. Should it be kind of tan or brown?
Yeah, you want it like brown, like starting to get like my bacon. Should be browner, and I can see the dough underneath is not cooked, so I gotta flip it again.
And then another question: should the eggs be beaten first?
Yeah, you should be first. Yeah, I think we're there. Pretty much there. Let me just give like 30 seconds more. Now the fun part. So you do the garnishing. Okay, so I'm going to turn my heat off. So this is the fun part. You just do the Types of Okonomiyaki sauce. This is I like doing this. This is good. If you don't have Kewpie, you can use regular mayo and just put it in a squirt bottle, but the presentation is kind of key, right? It's very nice. And then we have our onori. And then our katsuobushi. that's our final product. And it's ready to go. How's everyone's turning out? It's a little bit hard to cut because the pork, the bacon doesn't want to cut, but that's it. I just want to see the final product. A little bit messy, but delicious, I'm sure. So any more questions?
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
There.
Good time to make an appearance.
いただきます。
We can eat some.
Sensei's an expert okonomiyaki maker, by the way. So.
美味しい。ありがとう。
Okay, everyone. I guess we're wrapping it up here. I hope you had a good time and bearing with me. Yeah, this was fun. Good to see all your faces. And also, if you ever have any questions about this or anything with cooking, don't hesitate to get a hold of me. It's just my name at Gmail, alanhirahara@gmail. But if you ever have any questions about anything cook-wise, just feel free to get a hold of me because that's what I do. So anyway, you guys all stay safe and good seeing you all and take care.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Guys.